And the third and the final presenter in this section 1 is Brandon. And he is, is a designer and researcher working at the intersection of the embodied interaction, SOM design, SOMA design, and speculative design. He integrates movement-based method and these somathetic inquiry to develop effective experience-centered practices and studio pedagogy. I'm sorry, I'm not good at this. In today's talk, he will present his interdisciplinary design case study. So Brandon, please start your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Today, I'm gonna just introduce you to a project that I was involved in. I facilitated. I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable about sharing. Well, not uncomfortable, but I'll try to do my best to just like make a make a justice for all the works that the people who actually worked on this project. And can you see my presentation screens?
Yes, no problem.
Okay, I have a couple of videos that I need to show. So if you have any problems of seeing any of the slides, please let me know. So today I'm gonna share insight into a project that I was involved in and I was facilitating, and it's a future discourse project that was run by UN Department of Politics and Peace Building Affairs. They have a particular section where they try to do an innovative way of discussing policy making and peace building around the particular regions. And also UNESCO and Hongik University in Korea and Speculative Futures chapter in Seoul that I was running. We were collaborating all together to facilitate this discussion. And this project ran from 2021 to 2022. So it's 2 years. And I'll talk about the project a little bit more, but I'm gonna kind of give a context in why this might be interesting for having this discussion about futuring and also talking about future thinking and future literacy. So keep in mind that my presentation is to kind of question how do we go about defining future literacy for people in general, and specifically if you are coming from different culture, what does that mean? And also who defines it? And how do you go about thinking about it, right? So I'm going to start with a quote that I often borrow from. So if you take a time to read it quickly. So I think there's the question that one of the students from Tohoku University was asking was kind of interesting for me because I often kind of question whether design is kind of led by technology or technology is led by design, and how we actually go about understanding the directions that we are going is defined by one or another. But I think there's a kind of a interesting dynamics that goes on between the technology and the design itself. But So this is a quote from Louis Mumford, who wrote about technology at that time of 1934, which was quite surprising for me to read this. That came from quite early on. So the question of morality and also the communication and understanding of what technology does to our society and how we actually go about this is always been there. And I think that this discussion about future is not something that's new in my perspective. And speculative design has been a kind of hot word in design practice these days, and also often been abused in many ways. One thing that I'm gonna kind of talk about often is that speculative design is not about envisioning. So there's a kind of tendency for people to think about speculative design or future design to be like having particular kind of ability to envision, but it's more about inquiry in my perspective. So I'm going to quickly introduce this project that we were involved in. It was called Futuring Peace in Northeast Asia. So they were interested in bringing young people in Northeast Asia to have a discussion around how they see the future of the region and how they can actually contribute to the future of that region. And mainly focusing on the peace and also policy making around that area. But it was about increasing the awareness of the perspectives where all this youth can bring in, and also different perspectives of the future in the region. So I'm gonna quickly play.
We think it's important for young people in Northeast Asia to help chart a new forward-looking course of engagement and to imagine the future together.
We're exploring a new space, the linkage between youth, peace, and the security agenda and strategic foresight, with both young people and policymakers, and facilitated by those from the region and built on regional insights.
Future literacy for the young people is very important as a driving force of the society.
Whenever I met with lawmakers, I say, create more opportunities for citizens to forecast multiple futures and discuss a desirable future they hope for.
It's necessary for us to build more channels to collaborate with each other, like by the way, building more regional organization or any other community to tackle this kind of problem.
Either we can use the technology to build a platform where the young and old generation can communicate and minimize the conflict between them as well.
I think our discussion majorly was what kind of legacy we can leave to the future generation from the current generation. And one of the key points on that was the identity. What kind of identity can we leave for the future generation?
So I'm going to quickly, oh, sorry. So the discussions within that project has been very interesting and very diverse. And just to kind of give my perspective on what the futuring is I think about it as a participatory dreaming. So we are kind of co-creating the vision for the future, but also like participating in a way that we are having a discussion about what's possible and also what can be desirable in the future. So some of the students from Hongik University as a designers. So there were youth groups that were involved in these projects were mainly from people who are studying, other areas other than the design. So they weren't in the realm of design. And my role was to bring designers to actually facilitate the discussions in order to make the discussion more interesting and also more tangible in a sense. So our approach was to bring in some sort of a storytelling and making the future visions more tangible for the participants to actually have a grasp of, what that can be, like in details. So these were the students who are actually doing the projects, and there were 15 students, and they came up with the 6 different projects, and ranging from talking about family structures and also talking about politics, online politics that everybody can participate, and also the religious kind of services, food court in a junction between nations, and like objects of refugees, climate refugees that represents their lives, and also how young people can connect with older generation of people and what they can actually what kind of knowledges they can share. So I'm going to introduce you to one project that talks about family structure. Oh, hang on. Oh, okay. Actually, can I share a link to play the video? I think the video seems to be. Oh, 1 second. Sorry about this. Do we have time to play a video, share, and?
Yeah, you can go.
I can't. Yeah. Okay. I'll quickly share the video link if you can play that. I'm sorry about this. Did you, hang on. Would you be able to share this with everyone to just quickly watch it? It's a 6-minute video.
Let me share my screen. Oh, God.
I'm afraid we are a lot of behind the schedule. So I'm afraid
So,
6 minutes is rather long.
Sure. I'll just share the video, like links to the video later on, and I'll just continue with the presentation then.
Yeah, yes, that'll be fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So, okay. So there was you hopefully you'll watch this video, and it's a very interesting concept where young people start to create this new type of family. So these students went through this rigorous process of getting all the questions from the discussions that the participants in UN project actually came up with. So questions about how the family structures will be, and also what kind of challenges they will have, and they went through a rigorous process of, what if this certain things happens, and how the people would react, and also what kind of technology and what kind of services, and what kind of problems they will have, and also these inquiries were very rooted in local issues. So they were looking at tradition, like for example, for this particular project, they were looking at traditional family structure and how there are signs where these things can, the structure of the traditional family can collapse in the future. So they were looking at low birth rate and also elderly people living by themselves, and also there are increase in single household in countries like Japan and Korea and China. So they were looking at all these aspects and trying to figure out how this will eventually follow this trajectory, right? And pointing into certain events they think will happen, right? And also they also imagine this particular kind of phase of future where there will be a certain kind of catastrophic event like COVID to change people's perspective on structure of a family. So what they came up with is this new concept of liberal family, which you are forming a family with people who you don't really know, but they're not related to you or is not particularly bounded by marriage. And it's a kind of a creative way of people thinking about family and what that means in the future and what kind of impacts it will have. It's not just about the technology of development, but also like technology and the policies and people's lives being changed with everything. So the students were proposing this kind of a new reality that could be in the future, and this was fed back to the discussions in the UN project, where they could actually grasp what could happen in the future and also what this means for the people who are actually going to live this reality. And I think this is the whole interesting part of this design can bring in to this kind of discussions, where future literacy is not just about just following a logical pathway of what's happening right now and what's going to happen along this way, but is to kind of think about possible futures that are somewhat strange, but also can raise interesting questions. So the questions that we are throwing in is, how do we actually see this kind of events? And so how do is this like what we are kind of trying to understand in terms of our lives might change and so on. So giving this kind of specific examples and also tangibility, because the designs they actually bring into these scenarios and the storytelling, the actual tangibility of the objects and logos and systems is what the design actually can provide to future literacy and future thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentations. I hope other people are see the video you could not play at this time.
Yes, I'll share the video link to everyone so you can actually watch it. It's a very interesting project that, yeah.
Okay. So are there any questions from the audience? I'm very much interested in your work focusing on the family, future of the family. And as you know, family structure is very much bounded by the past conventional way. And there's a gap between the family, how the family should be or family had been. So maybe we are in between the future and also the conventional way of family should be. So
Yeah.
I have one question. How do you imagine, or how do you direct the students to imagine the family of the future? I'm very much
Yeah.
curious about this.
So I think it's a little bit tricky, in terms of how you direct this kind of imagination, because although it is important to kind of facilitate this kind of thinking, you cannot really tell the students or participants to say, okay, you should go down this way, right? So what we try to do, because the projects all 6 projects are very diverse, and they deal with the very different subjects. And the reason why this particular group, in my understanding, is very interested in family dynamics was that the family issue came up quite often in the discussion with the UN participants. And I think that was a very telling sign that the locality of Northeast Asia, they put emphasis on the family. And that's a very important for countries like Japan, Korea, and China, Mongolia, and all around this region, right? And the family structure kind of defines our daily life. And I think that was the kind of driving force for students to kind of really think about, okay, what if this is kind of has changed, because they are also struggling with this identity of having, like, relating to the family, their own families, and also their friends, and also like they're thinking about the future of having their own family, and that the challenges they face right now seem to drive this idea of, okay, what if we're not forming a family based on blood or social conventions, but we create our own social conventions that define what family could be. And based on that, like, they came up with different kind of policies, and also technologies that can assist this kind of process, right?
Okay, I found some chat message from the Luis about also the family. So Luis, could you show up and also state your comments in the voice?
Yes. Thank you for the presentation, Brandon. And actually, this is a comment. I was just engaging with a speculative design workshop on the topic of the future of family. And we come with a future scenario that what if artificial intelligence could support each other to understand well, and then even try to, how to say, matchmake between each other.
Yeah.
How does the family look like? How does the intimacy look like?
Sure. I mean, like online dating and also like matchmaking is a very interesting phenomenon that's still going, I think. And also it will evolve to different kind of phase. I don't know. Like I mean, I'm only a facilitator in this in this project. So, but my personal kind of view is that, yeah, AI will definitely play some sort of a mediation role in our daily life, in our relation to other people. I mean, technology always has been a mediator for any kind of relations that we have with other people, right? I mean, we are doing that right now. We're using over the online internet. We're creating some sort of a, visceral experience of relating to other people. And what that relation might be is very much influenced by the technology, but we don't really question that. And I think it's important to actually be aware of that, and also question what that could mean to us as a human, and how humanity relate to each other, right?
Okay, Masaki, do you have some words for the Brandon?
Yeah, I think this section, all presentation is talking about human, how to mediate human misalignment, or how to envision future of families, or Louis talk about future of community, not just gadget futures, tech futures, but more everyone infuse humanities in this project, and how we can make imagine the connection, how we can reimagine the community region. It's very appreciate to have this we have commonality of this humanity of the future. So yeah, really exciting presentation. Thanks everyone.
One last thing I might kind of add is that I think it's really important to realize and also kind of emphasize the locality of these kind of projects. So really bringing out the traditions or particular issues that certain regions might have, because the low birth rate and single family is a big issue especially in Korea. And I'm sure it's a kind of a similar situation in overall kind of Japan and China, that region. Not just that, but other reasons. So
yeah, I agree. I think this image of your future family is really a exact image of my Korean family's image in my Korean drama watching. So maybe in Japan, a different image would emerge, but yeah, this locality is really intriguing aspect for me.